What is going on, Road Trip Nate here. Once again, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, as the caption says at the top, I'm going to rank the Tremors movies 7-1. The originals were good. Tremors came out the year before I was born, 1988. The first two are two of my all-time childhood favorites. And then in 2001, 2003, somewhere in there, came out with Tremors 3, and then and then 2005 or 2006, they came out with an Old West style to show that they were already there 150 years before that. Probably not 150 years, but and then in the last couple of years, we've gotten three more. The last three have kind of been your basic B-rated movies to keep the story going. Direct to DVD, direct to Netflix now, I guess. But it's a good series. Currently, we're rewatching Tremors the series, TV series on the Sci-Fi Channel. That lasted one season, but it's a good. I can't include it in the list because it's a TV show, but it's an honorable mention. It was a good TV show for one season. I liked it. I wish they would have kept it going a little bit longer. They didn't dive into some storylines deep enough. And they didn't keep the show going long enough to really make it a bigger draw. It should have been a lot more because it was exciting. The episodes on the TV show were exciting. They had different activist groups trying to condemn the valley, save El Blanco. They had different monsters that popped up from crazy scientist that lost his pet project to shriekers being trained to hunt enemy forces. It was a fun series, the TV series. But it's an honorable mention because it's a TV show, not the 7 movies. With that in mind, let's begin with number 7, A Cold Day in Hell. Now this one was a B-rated directed DVD sci-fi movie. I mean they went to Antarctica or someplace. Burt Gummer and his newfound son went to help this team in some icy area. And Burt Gummer, he was sick from a graboid attack back in part 3, I think. I need to rewatch that movie, but one of these days. But it just had a B-rated sci-fi movie storyline. But it was watchable, but it was the most B-rated Tremors movie that I know, that I think. Moving on. Number 6. Bloodlines, Tremors 5. Burt Gummer finds out he has a kid with a woman he slept with at a concert back in like the 70s. He has a 40-year-old kid. that finally pops into the series. And they go to Africa to where the graboids originally came from, that were the true first uh, of the species. So they were a little bit different than the ones that had been in Nevada, where they had always been, and it was okay. They just added way too much to what these graboids and shriekers and ass blasters could do way too late in the series too. And it was another almost typical B-rated movie. It was it, a good hour and a half watch for a movie, but it wasn't any better than all the other movies that are higher on the list. Number five, The Legend Begins, Tremors 4. I liked the backstory of adding a prequel to the series to show that they were there before the events of Tremors 1. Uh, it just wasn't better than the four movies ahead. It was, it was an okay movie. It had some good parts. It showed how the Gummer family came to live in perfection, which used to be called Rejection, Nevada. In the series, they had to change the name after that movie to make it a place people wanted to go to. But that's about it. It just was kind of a prequel, B-rated prequel movie. Moving on. Number four, the newest one, Shrieker Island. It's a good movie. It was way better than I expected for a seventh installment after the last two movies of this series. The reason it's at number four, other than it was a good movie to watch. It was a good B-rated movie to watch. But because of the final scene, spoiler alert, if y'all have not seen Shrieker Island, do not watch this, the rest of what I'm fixing to talk about. Because Burt Gummer finally meets his end after seven movies, 32 years of Tremors movies. He gets eaten by a graboid at the very end. A very emotional and shocking ending, which is the biggest reason why this movie is number four. It had the biggest impact on the series moving forward compared to the movies that are below in my ranking. But Shrieker Island it was a good watch. You had a bounty hunter, well, not a bounty hunter, but a treasure hunter, a hunter, a prize hunter that lets loose graboids loose on this island in the South Pacific, and they end up uh, hatching shriekers. And so you have a lot of chaos ensues, like with most Tremors movies, when you got shriekers involved. And then, of course, Burt Gummer sacrifices sacrifices himself at the very end, getting eaten by a graboid over a ledge to end the movie. And they did a good montage of Bert Gummer's character throughout the entire series. At the very end of the movie, it was a good send to the character. Number three, Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. Tremors 3 was a good movie. I liked it because they had the Tremors 1, 2, and 3. They had started out with Tremors 1, the basic graboids. Tremors 2 introduced Shriekers. Tremors 3 brought the whole life cycle full circle by introducing ass blasters. Killed, killed off at least one main character. Bart Gummer, his house blew up. And so and it was back in the original town. So it was a nice brought the original three movies full circle on several different levels. So that's why it's number three. Number two, Tremors 2, Aftershocks. As I said, Tremors 2 introduced Shriekers, which were fun creatures to watch because they hunt by a heat uh, a heat sensor on their heads. They don't hunt like graboids do by sound. They hunt by heat, and they walk on the ground instead of under the earth. And so the characters had to figure out how to deal with them instead of graboids. Burt Gummer and Pearl from the original movie were the two returning cast members that had to go down to Mexico to fight a graboid problem and ended up running into a shrieker problem. So it was a good continuation of the first movie. But number one, the classic Tremors. One of my favorite movies of all time. My favorite sci-fi movies of all time. It, it, it's a movie that you know has had never been done before. It's never had a movie uh, done since that has that same kind of premise. It's a different uh, monster movie where the monsters are under the ground. You can't see them. They can hear you. They attack you from under the ground. So it's and you got Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, Michael Gross, Reba McEntire. You got a good all-star cast set in a desert town where you're completely isolated from everything. That's it's a good movie. It's a classic that's rewatchable. Those are my top five, or top seven Tremors movies. That's gonna do it for this episode. If you're new here, please feel free to hit that subscribe button after the video to stay notified on the current and future whereabouts. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Let us know you care. As always, you can visit my Patreon page, patreon.com/with me. If you feel like donating to this channel, however little bit helps, and it's always most appreciated. But if not, hopefully you enjoyed this video and the many others that are coming. We have 30 seconds till 15 minutes, so let's get it to 15 minutes, shall we? As I said, I'm currently watching Tremors series. I was kind of bored with what to watch, so I was just like, that kind of spawned the whole Tremors movie list. But until next time, road trippers, this live stream is over.